Okay, this is my 2008 Royal Star Venture by Yamaha. And I did an earlier video where I showed you how to remove the trunk. You can go back and see that video if you need to. And I have a 2013 also Royal Star Venture trunk still attached. But this is since I've got two of them, I've decided that I would convert this one. So go watch that video. It's pretty simple on removing this trunk. And I've got it actually stored over here. You can see it over there under my saw. But what I'm doing is I'm going to finish this out. Now, in that video, when I removed the trunk, you'll see there were some tangs that I had to shave down and polish up a little bit. There's this old tape, sticky tape. And I suppose you could work hard to remove that. But I ground this down, or grinded, using a grinder to take that down as much as I could. Well, what I've got is I've got this bolt here, of course, and then there's two holes here in your fender. And those are designed, if you ever buy the accessory, this chrome luggage piece, it lines up perfectly with that. And you can bolt that on. But before I bolt it on, I'm going to have a bib made here, and I'm going to do some measurements to show you. And Frank's Leather, who did my bib for my Kawasaki over here on the front side, I did a video on. He's going to make it for me, but we need some measurements. So what I'm going to do is, first thing, I'm going to try to get in the center of this and see what the measurement would be center to center. Now, so I'm going to turn this up. And looks like to me that would be 3 3/4 center to center. Let me turn it up a little bit. So I'd say that's about 3 3/4. Looks like 3 3/4 there. Okay. Now, then to go from, say, the center of this point here down to that bottom, it looks like to me that's 9.5 inches. So what you got here is you got a triangular pattern here. Well, also, we need to know, in order to cover this sufficiently, how wide would we really want this thing? And we got to consider that we want that to lay down, but really to cover all the markings, you probably want, I would say, let's see, at least a 7.5, maybe an 8-inch width, if possible. Now, I'll find out what Frank says, but, you know, I suppose you could probably swing it with a 7. No, you'd have to clean up a little bit. Yeah, you could. So we'll see what Frank says about how far you can stretch that. You know, but again, my goal is to put a bib on this that'll hide some of this. Well, I'll hide all of it. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to attach this here. And I've got the bolts already, the chrome pieces here in this bag. But basically, I'm going to use then to attach that. So I'm hoping that when Frank can make that, he can punch them holes for me. And I'll come back later and post what the actual measurements ended up being and what Frank tells me on terms of width. But I'll put his link also where you can order one if you're interested. I know some of you have been following along, and you looked at the trunk removal, so maybe you've been removing yours. But I'll come back. Hopefully this is helpful and all for you. I'm looking forward to finishing mine up. I tell you what, it took 30 pounds off the bike at least. And I don't know, it's maybe it's psychological or whatever, but I just feel like I can do tighter turns and everything now. Maybe it's less weight or just seems easier to maneuver. But taking that at least 30 pounds of weight off the back end of that bike has made a big difference now. So anyway, hopefully this is helpful, and hopefully you enjoy.